Good evening, everyone. It's 6:01 p.m. Call this meeting to order. Get Councilman Carter in his seat. This is the Council Committee meeting for November 12, 2024. I'll begin by asking Ms. Kidroll to call the roll for us, please.
Vice Mayor Love.
Here.
Councilman Allison.
Here.
Councilman Carter.
Present.
Councilman Fan.
Here.
Councilman Fennell is absent. Councilman Hayes.
Present.
And Councilman Juvance.
Present.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you so much. This evening, you have the minutes from the October 22nd, 2024 Council Committee meeting for your consideration for approval.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Vice Mayor Love.
Second.
Second by Councilman Carter. Any corrections, additions requested? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the October 22nd, 2024 Council Committee meeting minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. We'll move now to public recognition. This is a work session, so all public recognition is at the beginning of the meeting. We give everyone 5 minutes to speak. We need you to give us your name and your address for the record, please. And you'll just come to the podium and share your remarks about whatever you would like to make remarks about. So at this time, public recognition is now open. All right, seeing no one indicating they wish to speak, public recognition is closed. We'll move on to mayor's comments. I do have several things tonight. I want to start with election results and congratulating Councilman Sean Fennell, who was reelected, and then council members-elect Todd Alexander and Paul Jones, who both were elected last week during the election. For those who don't know, the sales tax referendum did pass the popular vote. And so that will happen at some point in the future after the certification of the election results. Want to mention that the American Legion put on the Veterans Day Parade this past weekend. They did a beautiful job. We did have an unfortunate accident in the parade, but we are continuing prayers for a thorough and swift recovery for the gentleman who was injured. Want to thank Public Works, who has worked so very hard both on the parade and getting Wi-Fi downtown. I know you folks have put in some long hours. Would also mention IT on that, certainly, Ms. LaFever. HR benefits fair last week went really well. I forget the number. Ms. Kanjimi said attended, but it was a lot of people. A lot of employees actually did participate. And then finally, I want to mention that planning staff was at TAPA and park staff was at TRPA. So lots of training going on. Exciting thing at the TRPA event. I think I have that acronym right. Yeah, I do. TPRA event. Gallatin won the public relations reward for the social media trivia game from last year that featured Valerie Southeth, and a lot of you know Valerie. I'll call her the star of the show. She's always a champion for our community. Gallatin was nominated for this award along with some other big cities like Chattanooga and Johnson City, so to actually take this home is a big deal. Also want to thank Gina Landstrom. She executed, produced the campaign, and thanks always to the Parks Department for providing the community and visitors with beautiful parks and facilities that gave Valerie lots of places to appear and entice other people to come visit. So thank you all for that. Some events coming up that I think you would want to be aware of. This Thursday, we are doing the Meta opening, so we're looking forward to that. This Saturday is the Beretta one-day sale. Good Morning Gallatin at the station is happening on the 22nd of November. On the 23rd is the Christmas Harvest Craft Show at the Gallatin Civic Center. That is always a packed shopping day for people. Of course, on Thanksgiving, the 28th and 29th, most city offices will be closed in observation of the day. The tree lighting is happening on December 3rd. The city employee Christmas luncheon is happening on the 4th. Tuba Christmas is happening on the 5th. So in about 1 week, you can get all the Christmas you can want. So certainly going to get in the season. Oh, I want to mention the Holiday Tinsel and Treasures last weekend too. Kim Baker shared with me that some merchants had some record days. So I think that is indicative of what people, feel is good to be spending. So that's a good thing for our economy and for our city's coffers, and certainly for our merchants. So she was excited about that, but there were people all over the place for that. I think that concludes everything that I wanted to share with you all. Is there anything that you always have some to add, Councilman Carter? You look like you did, but I guess you don't. So with nothing else then, I'm going to move on to the regular agenda. And the first item is ordinance 02411-68. And for that, Brian Rose, our city planner, is recognized. And he doesn't even have an awful, terrible, controversial planning project to bring to you all this evening.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Tonight, we have just this one item. It's the Rogers Group proposing a rezone of property. It's .93 plus or minus acre property from the R20 low-density residential district to the MRO multiple residential and office district with a preliminary master development plan. And that's located north of Nashville Pike and west of Pilot View. An easier reference for the roadway on that, and I don't know that anybody knows where Pilot View is, but Hunt Club Boulevard is directly across from that. So you can see this property in yellow here. The Hunt Club Boulevard is directly across the street from that on the Nashville Pike. So just to give you a better reference. The proposed use falls under the category of financial consulting and administrative, which is a permitted use in the MRO district. The residence on the property, which is just right in the middle of that bigger portion of the parcel, is an old house that was built in the 1940s. The property has been zoned R20 since the 1979 establishment of the Gallatin zoning map. So, no changes have really occurred since that time. And you can see if you look in the upper corner, top corner here, that whole entire parcel there is all zoned R20 behind it as well. So, it's been that way since the late 70s. The applicants are simply wanting to use that house as an office for the Rogers Group. Most of the site changes that they would be proposing are really related to just driveway and parking areas. Since it would be a non-residential use, they have to provide an ADA accessible parking space, which they've shown on this plan. They also are going to be paving the driveway instead of having it be gravel, which is not a dust-free surface. So that'd be part of what they're going to be doing as well. Planning Commission approved resolution number 2024-150, recommending the approval of this ordinance with a vote of 6-0. Staff recommends approval as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Oh,
Second.
Motion by Councilman Hayes, second by Vice Mayor Love. Any questions, any comments?
Glad they're not going to tear the house down.
Seeing none, all in favor of moving forward to council, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. Item 2 is ordinance 02410-58. Rachel Nichols, Finance Director.
Earlier this year, we sold the gas bonds, 2024 series, and we need to appropriate that money to have it on our financial records, and this ordinance would do that.
Motion to,
Motion by Vice Mayor Love, second by Councilman Carter. Any questions, any discussion? Seeing none, this is ordinance 02410-58. All in favor of sending forward, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. Item 3 is ordinance 02411-69, appropriating $3,927.56 for repairs to the 2021 Pearson Forcer fire engine. Chief Beaman.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. The purpose of this agenda item just request permission to appropriate insurance monies to reimburse the fire department's vehicle maintenance line items for repairs to a fire truck that was damaged during the floods back in May.
Motion to send it on.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Carter, second by Councilman Juvance. Questions, discussion? All in favor of moving forward ordinance 02411-69, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously. Item 4, ordinance 02411-66, appropriating funds received in the amount of $3,889.27 from insurance claims for damage to traffic signals. Nick Tuttle, City Engineer.
Same thing Chief Beeman shared. The floods from May, we had some issues with signals. Money's already been spent and looking to appropriate this to refund.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Love, second by Councilman Carter. Any questions? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of sending forward ordinance 02411-66, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, item number 5 is ordinance 02410-57. And in talking about this today at the department head, comment was made that we really need to move this with our capital improvement program, so.
That was what was asked to
Yeah.
do, and we put this on the agenda thinking that the full presentation for the CIP would happen tonight, and it's not quite there, so we need a deferral on this item to the next meeting.
Well, with no objection, we'll defer it since it's a work session. Okay, item 6 is resolution R2411-83, accepting public improvements by the City of Gallatin and Tompkins Farms Phase 1. Mr. Tuttle.
Tompkins Farm subdivision is the subdivision off of Old Scottsville Pike heading out northeast, close to Highway 31E. They're looking to have the first portion of Jackson Mack Way accepted by the city. This has a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission.
Motion to send it on.
Motion by Councilman Carter,
Second.
second by Councilman Hayes. Questions, discussion? Okay, all in favor of moving forward resolution R2411-83, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nothing from this side of the room. It passes unanimously forward. Item 7 is resolution R2411-84, accepting public improvements by the City of Gallatin and Goodview Properties.
This section of public improvements for roadway and stormwater is all of Goodview Way, which is that intersection where we put a traffic signal up at the intersection of Goodview, Harris Lane, and Greenlee Boulevard. So all of this is ready to be accepted with unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission as well.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fan, second by Councilman Carter. Any questions, any discussion? Resolution R2411-84, all in favor of moving forward, say aye. Opposed, say no. Passes unanimously and nothing on this side of the room. Sometimes,
I was drinking water.
okay. Item 8 is resolution R2411-85, accepting public improvements in Enoch Hills, Phase 1, Sections 1 and 2.
Item number 8 and item number 9 are part of the same development, Enoch Hills, which is off Hartsville Pike on the east side of town, close to Enoch's veterinary clinic that is out there. And first few sections here, item number 8 is a portion of Enoch Way, a portion of Hutch Court, and a portion of Hathaway Lane coming, the very first pieces coming in off of Hartsville Pike. And it is got a unanimous recommendation from the Planning Commission as well.
Motion to send it on.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Carter, second by Vice Mayor Love. Any concerns?
Is that both of them?
And this was sections 1 and 2.
Number 9 is the rest of Hutch Court, so if you'd like to send them both together. Item number 9.
Yeah, we're good with that.
You had the motion, and you had the second. And we'll vote on them separately next week. We'll vote on items 8 and 9, resolutions R2411-85 and 86. All in favor of sending both forward to council, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Passes forward unanimously. Item 10 is resolution R2411-88, authorizing the City of Gallatin to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Cumberland River Compact to support their application for a Tennessee Department of Agriculture 319 grant and to purchase property in support of this grant.
Thank you, Mayor. This item, I'm going to ask Assistant City Engineer for Stormwater Lance Wagner to share a little bit more on the details. It is support for us to partner with someone to make a grant application, and the big deal for us is we do have to purchase some property. So I'll pass it over to Lance for details.
I appreciate that. Good evening, council. Yes, we were approached by the Cumberland River Compact about 6 weeks ago to start looking into this concept of partnering with them and identifying some potential properties that could be de-paved. And so we've identified one property. We haven't spoken to property owners or anything yet because we'll do that as part of the grant application. So just as a quick schedule, if we move forward with this, we go to the memorandum of understanding with the compact. We'll apply in December, possibly get awarded next September, October-ish, and then we'll start engaging with property owners to potentially depave. The properties we identified are around Town Creek, and if you remember, there is a master plan out there from several years back, but it talked about taking Town Creek and making it more of a central green space in the city. And this project is kind of small in nature, but fits that vision and starts that vision for us. So I kind of see this as a stepping stone. We start here and then start moving up the creek in the next few years to get green space, open up some flood storage in there, and just generally make that a center point, focal point for downtown. This is the start of some of that activity.
So if we were to pursue and say be awarded and we could not reach an agreement with any of the potential property owners, or the price was beyond what we could settle upon, are they going to never give us another opportunity again as long as we exist?
No, the grant structure is broad enough to, for the compact to use those funds for other things within the watershed. There is a matching portion of that, so we're trying with this MOU to say that the city purchasing the property fulfills our matching grant kind of requirements for them. But if we can't come to terms with that property owner or any property owners, there are some other ways we can help the compact achieve this or maybe a little bit lesser of a goal. So there's still potential if that doesn't go through.
Councilman Shabazz?
Thank you, Lance. How much is a grant?
The grant depends on several factors. So we estimate this piece of property off of tax records to be $200,000 piece of property. And so we'd be putting forth about that much as a city. The compact will put forth labor is what they're going to do. So the whole grant's probably around that $350,000 size, with the city putting in the money to obtain the property.
Questions, thoughts, support?
Motion to send it on.
Motion by Councilman Carter,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Love. Any questions before we vote? Okay, this is Resolution R2411-88. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Moves forward unanimously. Item 11 is Ordinance 02411-70. Ordinance awarding the bid and authorizing funds in the total amount of $5,330,000 from Natural Gas 2024 bond sales for the natural gas system expansion Westmoreland project. Mr. Kellogg.
Good evening, council. This is a project that we've talked about several times. It's a proposed expansion of our gas system from 231 up 31 into Westmoreland to serve future residential, commercial, and industrial customers in that area. It ties into a project that we completed back in 2000, which ran lines about 50,000 feet from Airport Road to 231, with the intent to expand our system in that area and future to the north. There were 6 bidders on the project. Low bid was $4,561,000. The high bid was $15 million. Most of the bids were in the $5 to $6 million range. So it was a competitive bid. There were a lot of interest in the project. We actually had 9 plans hold to pick up and 6 that actually turned in bids.
Big difference in bids.
I think one, just if they got it, they would be happy, and the rest of them were competitive.
Questions, thoughts about it?
I would like to make a motion to defer to the next work session because thanks for sending numbers to us, but I got that at 5:30 today, and I was driving, so I didn't have time to look at it. So I'm interested in looking at your numbers because, I bought that several times, and Mayor, you told me to wait for the bids. So I'm actually glad we wait for the bids because the initial paper you sent us, the bid was at $3.8 something million, and now we're at 5.3. So already the numbers at 3.8 didn't really work. So at 5.3, my numbers don't work. So I'm want to see your numbers. You can pass that around, please. Because I run numbers at 50 hours a year, and I'm similar to what you say, except you say 60 hours, 60 something a year now. But when I run the numbers with 50 hours a year, we don't even make money to pay for the debt service about in 20 years. So, because what we need not to forget is that, yeah, the bond, it's $9 million, but we pay interest on it. And the project will cost $5.3 million. If we put the interest of the bond, that costs a lot more. So I'm curious to see your numbers, and until I see that, I can't really do anything because the numbers I have don't work.
Well, the numbers that I sent are based on 5 new services a month. They're broken out per year. It also includes our meter charge, which is currently $5 a month, goes to $10 next month, goes to next year goes to $15 the following year. The 3 scenarios, scenario 1 is a $5 separate Westmoreland meter charge. Scenario 2 is the first 10 years are $10. The second 10 years are a $5, and the third scenario is a $10 for the full 20 years.
So how much revenues we make in the 3 scenarios? Because if you say three
Scenario
scenarios.
1, $5,498,000. Scenario 2 was $5,731,000. Scenario 3 was $6,366,000.
So the project and the debt service, it's probably around 7.5. I think I gave everything, so I don't have it, but it's $7.5 million. So if I run a business in 20 years, I'm losing 1.2 on the best scenario, $1 million, that doesn't make sense.
So we have about 10 miles of pipeline in the ground on 31 now. We have 196 customers on that line in 24 years. Those 196 customers didn't pay to put that pipeline in the ground. It's establishing service territory and future growth. There are certain fixed costs in the system. The next item on the agenda is a fixed cost in the system. I would rather spread those fixed costs out over more customers than less customers. And if this has the potential to add customers in, I think it's beneficial to our ratepayers to do that.
It's beneficial if everything goes good, maybe, because again, if we lose, we were discussing at the last meeting about spending money on the light, $400,000 more than what we wanted, and if I remember well, Mayor Brown, you say we need to be responsible with the money. So my question is the same, is why Gallatin customers who pay and take the risk of having to pay more, we just did a raise to go back level, because it's not small money. Best case scenario, 6.3 over 7.5, that's 1.2 million. Who's going to pay for that? And again, that's at the end of 20 years. Who's going to pay for the debt service on the first year? Who's going to pay for the debt service on second year and third year? That's going to be, somebody's going to have to pay for it. So that means if you need to balance, we're going to have to raise the rates of Gallatin to make sure we can balance until we have enough customers on the other side. Again, I have no problem making money, but why don't Westmoreland, if they really want that gas, why don't they pay for it? We give them gas, but why will we take the risk at the city to spend all that money and lose all that money? I understand the good neighborhood stuff, but it's still money. Why don't they pay for it? Because at the end of the day, they're going to make money on that, because the more housing they're going to get because they can plug into gas, the more tax they're going to get, and we spread the bill until maybe in 25 years we can start making money. So that's my concern. I have no problem bringing gas there if we make money, but if that takes us 25 years, well, what the lifespan of a gas line is, what, 40 years?
50.
50 years?
We're looking at a 50-year investment, which will grow over time.
Increase in
And we've
customers.
got lines in a lot of areas that were speculative, as this is, that have grown into the system that we have now. We cover probably the southeastern third of the county, everything from Chutes Lane at Nashville Pike, all of the Bend, up north to South Tunnel Road, Highway 25 out to 231, 31 out to 231. I mean, we cover a pretty good area now, and a lot of that line went in 30, 40, 50 years ago to establish service territory and to, allow our system to grow and to build. And that's, to me, that's what this does. It allows our system to grow and to build.
But again, who's going to pay the bill? Because if they don't build 60 hours a year, like you base your number on, your numbers go down, and we are left forking up the bill. And I won't be there when that happens. None of us will be there when that happens. But that can happen. And again, as a business, if I see that I take a 20-year risk and at the end of 20 years I don't make money, that makes no sense.
Councilman Fan, you're recognized.
Yes, Mr. Kellogg, in your opinion, what happens if we didn't approve this?
Lose service territory, and we lose potential customers in the future. And somebody else will do it.
Well, and we probably increase the burden on our existing customers because
It
you're not
does.
going to be spreading your fixed assets across the larger customer base. And it's like the water, and that's why small water systems are so challenged. It's an economy of scale. And the more customers, the more you have to pay for. I mean, expansion certainly, but the fixed assets long-term. And you keep.
Yes, we could not get the 60 customers a year. We could get one that comes in and takes up all the
All
capacity
of
in the
it,
pipeline.
because there's also an industrial
of unknowns.
property, and along that line, there's a lot of opportunity for business that could exist. I know what one of them is, and it was something that Westmoreland I'd be thrilled that it was there, because a lot of commercial businesses can't locate without gas, and most industry cannot locate without gas.
You say this is an investment for the future? I'll make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Fan, second by Councilman Carter.
We got a motion to defer.
Huh? Oh, you got me,
Die for
okay.
lack of a second, so.
Well, no, we didn't give it that opportunity because he made a motion to defer, but then I forgot by the time we took a breath. So we have a motion to defer. I would ask if there's a second on the motion to defer. Before I do that, I do want to ask you, what is the time to apply to the contract?
That is why I put it on the agenda tonight, is trying to get the contracts in before the end of the year.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I have a motion to defer. Okay, motion does not have a second, so now we will go to Councilman Fan's motion to move it forward to council, seconded by Councilman Carter.
Yes, ma'am.
I would ask if there's discussion or questions remaining about this. Okay, all in favor of moving forward to council, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
Okay, it does move forward to the vote 6-1. Item 12
I have
is,
to one.
Did I miss one?
5-1.
Oh, that's right, thank you. I thought we were saying I skipped something. Item 12 is Resolution R2411-89, and David Kellogg, authorizing the mayor to sign the firm storage service agreement with Egan Hub Storage.
This is as part of our contract administration policy. Any contract over a certain length of time has to come to the council for presentation before the mayor can sign. This is our natural gas storage contract. It's with Egan Hub Storage. We store gas in a facility. We buy it in the summertime, store it in a salt mine for use in the wintertime when the demand goes up. Costs like this fixed cost, our fixed cost on this went from $45,000 a month to $102,000 a month. Simply because of the demand from power generation and the demand for LNG facilities that are shipping natural gas overseas. All the storage capacities are being bought up. We shopped it around to try to find someone that we could switch to. This has been our provider for probably 20 years, and that's the best cost that we could find for storage.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Love, second by Councilman Carter. Questions, discussion?
I want to make sure I heard right. You say we went from 45 a month to 102?
Don't know. It's not his fault. I mean, it's where we are in this world. I don't know that there are any other options.
More expensive options.
Well, Mr. Kellogg, thank you for doing your due diligence to see that that was the best option for us at this moment.
So all in favor of moving forward to council, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Okay, it moves forward unanimously. Item number 13 is the discussion of city manager administrator position. Just want to talk to this council and figure out, is this something that we want to move forward, because it does require a charter change, but several questions associated with that. I think probably the first one would be, is you want this a decision for this body or for the next council that's seated in January? It's not really something that would have to go to the state this January, but I wanted to give us an extra year so that we could. I mean, whether I run for mayor or not, I think that the right thing to do for the future is to make a decision on a city administrator. Ms. Hamacali made, and I didn't even realize this, but she made the point to me that we're the largest city in the state of Tennessee without a city manager or administrator. And then I don't know if you understand the differences between city managers and city administrators and which way you would like to go. I mentioned last week you have to be willing to let that person make decisions on department heads. You have to decide what the roles of the mayor would be. Would the mayor vote? If they did, would they have veto power? Those are the kinds of things that you would have to decide. I do want you to know that there is a large fiscal impact. I think you're going to pay a city manager or administrator $210 to $230 is what you're looking at, probably what you're going to be paying. Of course, then I think you would change the structure of how you pay the mayor, but depending on what you want from a mayor, I don't think you want a mayor that only shows up for meetings. I think you really need a mayor that participates with department heads, and a mayor's obviously going to have to sign contracts and do whatever is required to be done by the elected head of the city. But I think that it is greatly beneficial to have a mayor who is engaged with your state elected officials, your state TDOT commissioners, those people that help us get things done, to have relationships throughout the state. And you don't do that by only coming to your local meetings. That is the second time that has done that to me. Have you had that happen to you?
That happened last
Three.
week.
What is it?
sparks flying out over here. Sorry, y'all.
Poured in there or something.
Board or something.
Yeah,
Nothing's plugged to it, is it?
I'm wiggling around, huh?
Anything plugged over there? We don't-
Yeah, but I'm not gonna touch it.
Let me ask you this, do we have any, information yet? Here's my point, I guess. It's like you said, I think I would rather wait until the next administration comes on because we have plenty of time, correct?
Well, I think that if you want, and, you know, I'm not saying I'm not gonna run, but even if I did run and get beat, you could do it at that point, but I think there would be real value in bringing in whomever that manager, administrator would be before this current term is up, so that there was a period of acclimation for the department heads, for the employees, for the council, and I think that would make for a smoother transition. But it, you know, it does have to change. The other point I would make is if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, your next election is going to be exactly as it's structured now until it's changed in the legislature. Have hands everywhere. Vice Mayor Love.
My thought was, on the question of this board deciding or the next one, you're mentioning a lot of things that have to be decided, and this board is almost finished for the year. So I would say to wait until the next, as far as that goes.
Which would almost get, I mean, they're in session starting in January.
I spoke with one of our state legislators today, and, I mean, if you're talking about waiting until, let me look back at the calendar. Putting on a work session would be January the 14th, and then it would be end of February before you could have 2 readings on an ordinance. That is going to be pushing it. I think it could still work. Their bill date is typically that first week of February, their bill deadline. There are ways around that. It's just whatever this body wants to do. And I do have information, but I have no idea what the council wants. So once I know a direction
And what
of
do
a
you mean, what
structure,
kind of
then
information?
I can gather additional information.
How do other cities do it? Do they
It
have?
varies very
I mean, it varies
widely.
everywhere. That's why I'm saying, I mean, there's decisions that this body has to make to craft what we
I guess I'm
want.
looking for some guidance, from what other cities do. Like, do they have a part-time mayor? Do they have a, city administrator? Do they have a city manager?
I mean,
What does that mayor do? What are their duties?
it's very different everywhere. I mean, it's very different
I mean, if you're
everywhere.
looking at Franklin, Smyrna, those types of cities that are around us.
Yeah,
that
looking at
have
other
that,
cities our size, yeah.
They have a city manager, but they have a mayor that's very active and involved as well.
And even Hendersonville, they've done it, but their mayor is still full-time and paid as a full-time mayor. Councilman Juvance, you're waiting to be recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I was expecting to get something today because the packets and information to be handed out at the meeting. So I'm not familiar with city manager, administrator, and I think, like you said, it's going to be a lot of changes. Few things I think out of the charter we need
Be a
to
lot of changes to our charter.
to be studied, and I don't think that's a decision we can make lightly because that's going to change a lot of things. And I want to have time to educate myself on it. I want to, like Councilman Hayes say, I want to see what they do in Brentwood, what they do in Chattanooga, what they do in everybody around to be able to find what the best for us. And I don't think we can do that now. And even if we push it to the next group, these people are still gonna need time to figure it out after they get sworn in. So I'm not against the idea for now because I don't know anything about it.
Okay, well, I didn't realize that y'all didn't know anything about it. But Mr. Juvance, the main reason Councilman Juvance, the main reason this has not gone forward in the past is that this body has been very resistant to having an administrator or manager having the authority over the hiring and termination of department heads. And we are very unique in the way that we do that. And I know that you would not be able to hire a city administrator that was not in that authority. And so that's why, because I did pull some information together, but I thought this is just going so many different directions. I have to figure out, do they want to go manager? Do they want to go administrator? Do they want the mayor to have a vote or a veto? And do they, so many of the things that we have to take your temperature on, if you would, because otherwise Susan and I both are going to be wasting a whole lot of time.
What information were y'all passing out tonight?
Well, I was starting to put some stuff together, but I just came up with all the people, from Smyrna, just all I put together from Smyrna was 5 or 6 pages of just what the duties and roles are. Same for Williamson County, Franklin. It's just, we structure it how we want to. Basically, with the city manager or administrator, they are in charge of day-to-day operations. They basically do what the city of Gallatin's mayor does on the day-to-day operations and budget side and department head management. The mayor really becomes a figurehead for a city, can have specific roles if you want to designate it that way. I think there's value in that just from my own experience, but it's not necessary, and most cities don't. Most cities have a part-time mayor that, have a manager or administrator. My experience is that unless they're just really spectacular and have a job that allows them to be extremely engaged, they can't be. I think that's why Hendersonville went the direction they did with a full-time administrator and a full-time mayor. Councilman Fan.
My question would be, we're the only one that don't have it, right?
We're the largest city that
We're one of the
doesn't.
largest that
Okay.
doesn't.
What would be the benefits? Can we get a comparison? Are these cities better off financially than we are by doing that?
Some are, some aren't, but there's so many variables that impact that too. In my mind, the benefits is that you have a professionally trained city manager that, I need to add this too, typically under contract, which helps them pass through administrations. So you have a professionally trained, experienced city manager that can help during times particularly of transition, but that is in charge of the things that I mentioned. From my perspective, that's very, very valuable, because what I find doing what I do in this role is that I'm working all day with the day-to-day minutia. I shouldn't say minutia, but just everything from, employee issues to emails to phone calls to people that come into the office that's just constant. And there's never any opportunity to look forward, to plan, to make calls to inquire about something that you're interested in. It's just way too much for one person to have both those roles. So you kind of have a big picture person, representative of the city person, and then you have the day-to-day operations person who does the budget, kind of like I have done.
That's kind of what most of them are doing now.
Yeah, but I do know city managers, city administrators who also kind of take on that, and because, cities are so different. Take a city that's built out and they don't have room for any more jobs to come to their city. They're not working economic development really at all, except maybe some, and depending on the kind of jobs they have. There's just so many variables that are going to impact that. I think for Gallatin, you do need somebody that is focused on those relationships with people at the state, with your regional connections, with your your mayors, your other mayors. I think that's a great place to learn. But the reason that I wanted to bring it up was because I have a fear that we have a whole lot of department heads who are very close in age. And there could come a time where there's a mass exodus of department heads and you don't have institutional knowledge here. You don't have just even, we've seen how hard it is to hire. And so say you get a new council, you're trying to hire a new department head, everybody's gone with institutional knowledge, and you're in a hard place because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. I was very fortunate when I was elected because city attorney, finance director, HR director at the time, and then the development departments, they taught me everything. So,
Well, can we get some examples? I mean.
Yeah, if you want me to put together like a packet of different cities and what they do, I'd be happy to do that.
and like Eric Stuckey, who's the
That would be
Franklin.
great.
Is there any way to
Please
find
don't.
out who's having the most success with this system?
Oh,
I mean,
Determine
how do
that.
you how do you,
We're going to have to model it after somebody.
well, that's why I'm saying if you can give guidance on the things that are absolutes or things that you think would work for us,
Can
then,
TML not help us?
no, TML doesn't do that, MTAS.
I mean, MTS, whatever, yeah.
They can, but I was going to
but
say,
it still depends on what what this council wants. I mean.
they're not going to tell you the right thing
I
to
have
do.
gathered information from other cities, from the attorneys in other cities. I have some information that I have pulled.
That's what I thought we were going to get tonight. That's what I thought we were going to. I mean,
And I think the mayor may have some city managers that were going to possibly come speak.
But I don't want to have somebody come from Franklin or White House or Goodlettsville or Nolansville or some of these other places, these city managers that I know well, if you're just going to, no, we're not interested.
Council's not interested.
Right.
These city managers have assistants that could be promoted into a position.
Well, some do, some don't. A lot of cities have assistant city administrators.
But now you're really talking the
Yeah,
big financial.
and that is part of the fiscal impact that you've got to consider, because the city administrator is likely going to have an assistant way beyond what this mayor certainly has had. They're going to have an assistant city,
But
or
again-
at least an executive assistant.
Sorry,
So I
Mayor.
assume that the mayor will still be elected, but the city administrator
would-
would be appointed by the council?
Well, that's the difference between the administrator and the manager, is one's appointed by the council, one's appointed by the mayor.
We have two different choices on that, too.
There's, again, I can't say I'm for or against if I don't know or I don't have information. So, and I don't think that's going to take me a couple of days to figure it out. That's a monster to figure out all the changes, everything we need to do.
Well, the first thing we would have to do is figure out what this body wants to do. And then once you determine that, then I would go through the charter and determine all of the things that must be changed.
so you can get us some information?
I will
put
be-
packets
yes.
But there
together.
really is a myriad of choices, but the core things are the things that I brought to you that are either yes or no.
Could we get more than one charter? I mean,
Absolutely.
I mean, I've got two sitting right here, but,
Well, that's what we just want to look at.
okay. I'll make sure you get a chance to look at them.
I think y'all, what we're probably still not comprehending, it doesn't seem like anyways, is that we still have to say as a council, do we want, what things we want, what qualities we want, what characteristics. So, I mean, it's still not going to be just on the mayor and the city attorney. We have to open our mouths and say, hey, we want A, B, and C. We don't want D, E, F.
But the number one thing, and I'll mention this again, where we have frozen on this in the past, is that the city council was not willing to abandon the authority of hiring and terminating department heads.
I don't think that's the only and sole reason. I've been on here many years.
Okay, in the 10 years that I've been here, that was the reason.
Time before.
Why was it before?
I think a lot of people wanted to run for mayor that were on the city council. And that's exactly why. We tried it many years ago. I think that's why.
Okay. I don't see. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying I just don't. I did not feel that when we discussed it several years ago. It was all about the authority to hire and terminate, and that was just. I mean, couldn't get past that.
without reading the charters, we're just kind of throwing stuff up there.
I will put together a packet, different charters, different options for you to peruse.
And I still think that's going to take a lot of time, and I still think the next sitting council should be involved in that. So I'm not against having a discussion again. Make a motion to,
Well, there's really no motion necessary if y'all just want to wait on.
put it on the agenda.
I will be happy to go ahead and get that information, and as you know, I always do an orientation with the newly elected council people, and I can go ahead and get information out to them so they can be reviewing as well.
That would be great.
I'd like to also see what the city has as a qualification for this person that they're hiring.
Typically, they're going to require a master's in public administration or significant experience, a
Brentwood and
decade or
Smyrna
more.
are both, Smyrna just hired a new city manager, and Brentwood is in the process right now. So I have information that I can gather from them as well.
I would think a city our size would require 10 years of you know,
Like what now?
I would think that a city our size would require 10 years of city management experience, either as an assistant or primary in a smaller city. So,
I just don't want somebody to come in and convolute everything, get everybody in an uproar.
well, that's, you know, that's the, it's kind of the mindset that people have to shift on, is that, I mean, it's no different.
That could also happen with the new mayor.
Yeah. I mean, you can't, I mean, just like, I think most council members know better than to call and tell a department head, you can't, you know, do this or don't do this. Same has to happen with the city administrator. I mean, you have to let them do their day-to-day operations.
Well, the captain needs to be a leader.
Pardon me?
Captain needs to be a leader, and he needs to rally the troops too.
Well, that is the role of the city administrator. I mean, the mayor too, but, you know, depending on if the mayor has the hiring authority or the council does, you know, it does change the dynamics.
I'm not against it. I just want us to be careful who we get.
Well, that's always well, everybody wants that, but you don't always get that. Granted, I know a lot of city managers though, because I've worked with so many of them around the state.
Let's get the information from Susan, and we can do our homework, and let's talk about it again next year.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, we'll move on then to item number 14, discussion of impact fees. I don't know that we need to discuss a lot, just whether or not you want to try and send it forward again this year.
Yes, I do. I want to send it again, and like I say, I will make sure the people who represent us know what it is and do a better job than last year, and we'll see where it goes. And if they give it to us, good. If they don't, we'll try again.
And I would just add, if council is in favor of that, I think we would need to do a new ordinance to send. I
Okay.
think we should use the ordinance that went last year, just to show if council is interested that there's, you know, I don't think they're going to look at something from last year and think that there's potentially still interest. So I think that we'd need to have an ordinance,
So we need
a
that.
new ordinance.
Yeah, I'll second that we do another ordinance in, so.
Motion and second. All in favor?
All right.
Moving it forward to council, please say aye. Opposed? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Abstention by Councilman Allison. Was there anyone else? Okay. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry. So that would be 4 to 1
You
to
didn't ask
1.
for any nays, I don't think.
Well, he just offered his nay, so I was, okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Yeah. So 411. Thank you.
This time, if somebody has to go down there and talk about it, can we send the mayor and,
Well, I mean,
if necessary, somebody that's been,
that's fine. It's just, my experience at the legislature with the committees is I've never seen anybody there speaking on anything except the representatives that's carrying the bill. And so I have, I've been in hearings where I've been observed or I've been there for a different reason, but I've never, observed a mayor or a council member down there asking for something. So that was not something that I even thought was ever done until it was done, so.
But they let you do it. You just ask and you can talk.
Oh, very well.
Things happen, but at least we try.
Okay, very good. All right, we have some other business to get through this evening. We will move now to other business. We have several department head reports. We'll start with the stormwater report. And Mr. Wagner, I'm betting that's you.
Do other business first.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I skipped other business. Other business from this body. Okay, we will dance along then to the department head reports. Start with the stormwater report, and we have everybody.
Yes, got the good portion of the stormwater team here with us tonight to give
Glad
you
you
the
brought
stormwater.
somebody that's fun.
The annual, that's
You
right, that's
engineered.
right. Some excitement, some energy, some good smiles. The city is required to have a permit and protect our rivers, lakes, streams, and we are also required to give you an annual report on how we're doing that. And that's what we got Mr. Lance Wagner here, our assistant city engineer for stormwater, and Ms. Courtney Hopkins, our stormwater coordinator, to give you that report tonight.
Well, hello. My name is Courtney Hopkins, the Stormwater Coordinator. It's a pleasure to see you all again. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present our annual stormwater report. This is a requirement, as they mentioned, by our MS4 annual report, and just really our permit compliance. So both engineering and public works departments are committed to our community successfully managing our growth for both a healthy and sustainable economy and to preserve all that Old Hickory Lake provides us in recreation, fishing, aesthetics, commerce, and most importantly, clean water. We do this by managing what we call the MS4, which stands for Municipal Stormwater Sewer System. The MS4 is a system of pipes, ditches, ponds, and conveyances which allow for the transport of stormwater, which ultimately discharges to Old Hickory Lake. These programs are critical to the health of our environment and even play a role in our local economy. To best manage stormwater, the Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation charges the city with 6 minimum control measures. And we're going to go over each of those programs just really quickly. That's the construction stormwater program, the illicit discharge program, or illicit discharge detection and elimination program, post-construction, municipal housekeeping, monitoring and record keeping, and then, of course, public education, outreach, and participation. This is part of our participation. If this presentation captivates you, it's online on our website. So our construction stormwater program is an element that covers a broad spectrum, which includes everything from engineering review of all types of plans and drainage calculations to inspections and compliance review and documentation of active construction sites. This past fiscal year, our engineers reviewed over 800 plans. It's a lot. It's both challenging and rewarding to review new development design submittals and then later inspect these drawings as active construction sites. We try very hard to ensure that we keep environmental impacts to a minimum without hindering progress. But as you know, the city is under a construction boom right now. By the end of this past fiscal year, June 30th, we had 191 active sites. Our stormwater technician, Rick Rorick, has done a great job managing this important program area and has successfully standardized the land disturbance process, improved communication, as well as successfully maintained a digital inspection system. In addition to Mr. Rorick, who's done a really wonderful job, we have welcomed in a new addition to our team, Jacob Sullivan. He is new to the department, but he's not too new to the city. He's been with us for 12 years. He's been really excellent to work with and has done a really great job so far. Our next permit element includes our illicit discharge program. So we've had 10 investigations that we've conducted this past year, and we've worked to resolve each one. I would like to give a special thanks to Anita Kemp and Charles Derflinger, and also the City Attorney's Office for aiding us through some of those illicit discharge cases. The next program elements I'll mention are post-construction stormwater program, and then the municipal housekeeping program, and then also the monitoring program. Our housekeeping inspections have gone very smoothly, and we would like to recognize each department that strives for excellence in good housekeeping practices. Every department has been excellent to work with, has been very accommodating to each of these inspections, and so I'd like to thank each of them for their help. Finally, I'm sorry, I skipped a part. Our stream monitoring program will be deployed in the year 2025. So what does that mean? Our system of streams and creeks and everything that empties into Old Hickory Lake, we'll have somebody come in and actually monitor those places. They'll be looking at benthics, which is like the little creatures that live in the water that have shells and things that can be analyzed, and really be paying attention to the water quality. They'll be doing visual assessments. So maybe next year you might see somebody around town with a vest looking at our creeks or pulling samples, and that's what they'll be doing. Finally, the most fun of our permit program elements is the public education outreach and participation program. So both engineering and public works are very happy to participate in programs that allow us to educate kids and adults about stormwater because we just love it so much. We work alongside our citizens in the Cumberland River Compact, who's really been spearheading our education program and cleaning up streams and neighborhoods, hosting booths at career days, organizing an urban runoff 5K and water quality festival, and teaching kids about critters in the creeks. So these are the same people we were working with to potentially do that 319 grant that Lance was discussing earlier. I'd also like to give special recognition to Diana Johnson with Public Works. She's a great leader for organizing and participating in these cleanup events. Finally, before I hand the presentation over to our Assistant City Engineer for Stormwater, Lance Wagner, I would just like to mention that Public Works is super fantastic to work with on stormwater drainage projects. We meet monthly to discuss things on a case-by-case basis. And from that, we've developed or reorganized a lot of our maintenance policies. And really, we just tried to clarify them and organize them on the website so that they're a lot more digestible and citizens can have a better understanding of how we do maintenance in the city and how we make determinations on what maintenance we pursue. It can certainly be challenging to balance healthy growth while protecting and ensuring clean water for our city's future. And I'd like to add another special thank you to our Gallatin citizens for investing in our water quality and the future for our area. Everyone has been really great to work with, and I just appreciate you all so much. Thank you.
Kind of lost the presentation a little bit.
We appreciate you.
If you want to narrate just a few slides there, just kind of.
Oh, sure. So this is from our Urban 5K. So we participate in the Nashville Runoff Urban 5K every year. Pictured here is Memo from engineering and Stone, who worked with us last year over the summer as an intern. Here's another picture from the Urban 5K. It's a really great event. I think one of the best things about it is it gives us the opportunity to work with other municipalities and see what they're doing right with public education and learning from each other. And it's just a really good time to rally around stormwater issues. And it is a no-waste event, so we really promote no waste while we're there. Also, this past year in June, we had our first Gallatin Water Week, and that was also spearheaded from our partnership with the Cumberland River Compact. It was incredibly successful. I think there was 400 participants. And here is some pictures from our Creek Critter program that went hand in hand with Water Week. So you can see some of the Cumberland River Compact that we've been working with, giving a demonstration here. You know, really educating our youth is really important. It's what provides that extra care for water quality in our area, and it's really exciting to see a growing passion for taking care of each other, taking care of our neighbors and our environment. Here's a picture from a cleanup. This is a picture from our mapping program. So we're required to have every outfall mapped in the city. And so this is our outfall map, or our most up-to-date snapshot of our mapping efforts. Here's another picture from a different cleanup event, and another cleanup event. And this was from an education event that was geared toward HOAs, but it was about getting to know your watershed. And then a special thank you to all of these departments, Mayor Brown, of course, all of you at City Council, Public Works, our planning department, Brian Rose, thank you for coordinating with us on our floodplain management. Codes department, I think I mentioned Charles earlier. He was really helpful during enforcement. Gallatin Public Utilities, especially thanks to Leanna Drains for partnering with education. The fire department, electric department, police department, Parks and Rec, Cumberland River Compact, and of course, again, thank you, Gallatin citizens.
Courtney's being a little humble there. When she talks about that 5K, she organized that 5K for the Tennessee Stormwater Association. And so she's been phenomenal with that, and big help to us. So another big part of the stormwater is the stormwater utility. That's where we bring money in. And so as just a quick update on that, each year we bring in about $2 to $2.1 million per year with fees. That's based off the impervious area from each household in each parcel in the city. Our fees are increasing as we increase more lots in the city, as we develop more, so it is increasing. One thing we have noticed, kind of looking back at our fees and our fee structure, is fees in commercial areas may not actually be assessed correctly or allocated correctly. If you have a big development, you have small sub-parcels, out-parcels, or different things like that, the fee structure can get kind of confusing. So in order to kind of clean this up and kind of do a 5-year audit, we have brought CDM Smith back on. So within this next year, you should see us talk a little more about fees and reach out to some of the commercial entities in the city, and especially in downtown, and make sure we have the fees allocated correctly and set up correctly and billed correctly. So you may hear a little bit about that come probably second quarter next year. All right. We do a whole lot of stormwater projects, and a lot of times they're kind of sight unseen. They're hand in hand with Public Works, or they're hand in hand with the development community. So I just want to spotlight a few of those and kind of close this out. This is the Hitchcock Avenue berm and the Windsong development. A great partnership with the developer to put this in. Right now, I say it's working halfway because the development, 2E and 2F of Windsong, are just now starting to finish out. So this year we hope to kind of get this finished and get this 100% online. This helps protect Hell Avenue and Jocelyn, which have been long-term drainage issues and areas for our city. All right, Inniswood and Meadow Lake ditch and ditching, kind of reestablishing the ditches in Inniswood and Meadow Lake. This has been a long time coming, but been a long time due to the utility coordination efforts. So we've had a lot of work with David Kellogg and his group as they've moved a pump station out of the way, and now it's all cleared and out of the way. We're starting to be back there to reestablish some of these ditches that were there many, many, many years ago. They look pretty big now, but we're kind of reestablishing what was there. So again, providing some flood relief and drainage relief to those, to the Inniswood area. Elizabeth Court sinkhole, Ms. Love, we talked about this before. you've heard you've heard a lot about this over the years. This is a sinkhole that keeps getting bigger and bigger every time we fill it in. We've come back with a much bigger team, much better team this time. They should be finishing this up. This picture was about last week, and we had a nice dry period of time. So they should be finishing this project up really next week. And hopefully it's done, and we're not back there very soon. Gibbs Lane Culvert Rehab. I like to spotlight this one because our Public Works group and Richard DePriest brought a new technology kind of to our attention, which is you see the inside of the pipe there being that sprayed grout. He brought this to our attention. This was a great project to try it on. On Gibbs Lane, this is a very large culvert. You're looking about 5 feet wide, about 4 feet tall. It was partially collapsed and had some issues during the May 9th flooding event. And in order to replace this culvert in the more convenient way, it would be to tear out the whole road and rebuild it. There's a lot of gas lines, a lot of other things in the area that made this very difficult to tear that road. It would have meant the road be shut down for a long time. We're able to do this fix and keep that road open during the whole time. So a shout out to Public Works for bringing this technology to our attention, and we'll be kind of watching this to see if we can use this on some other culverts in our area. All right, some projects to look forward to in 2025. So we've, some of you probably heard about the Town Creek, Section 205 of the Army Corps of Engineers. This is the berm, detention berm in Triple Creek Park. This is now moving forward at a much more rapid pace, and we expect construction to begin in second quarter of 2025. South Water and East Winchester culvert replacements, again, projects that have been around for a while. Those are out to bid right now, and we should get bids back and see about going into construction probably second or third quarter of 2025 with those. So I just want to let you know that those are coming up, and those are projects moving forward in 2025. Just real quick, this is a really grainy, weird photo, but if you look deep inside there, you can see Sumner County, you can see the pink and the blue. This is May 9th, the flash floods we had this year. When the north part of the county gets that much rain, it's coming towards Gallatin. And so you guys remember this. Once again, this is a situation where we can't control how much rain falls on us, but we can control how well it drains away. So as you remember, this water was dissipated within about 6 hours, and there were issues here and there, but overall, I was very happy with the way the city's system responded to this. Again, a good shout out to Richard DePriest and his guys for maintaining that system for us. But no one likes to get flash floods, but we liked how our system responded overall. We still have a couple issues here and there we have to work with, but overall, we were pretty happy with that. So again, I'll open up for questions. If you have questions for me or for Courtney or for Nick for that matter.
Good presentation.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Interesting to see what, we're investing in and the difference that it's making. So thanks for quantifying that.
Well, I appreciate you guys. And if you ever have any questions, please reach out to myself, Nick, or Courtney on any of these issues.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
These folks are passionate about stormwater. I appreciate it. All right, Public Works Annual Report, Mr. DePriest.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. In your packet, I put together some documents to kind of highlight some numbers, basically, for the Public Works Department. The first page was vehicle and equipment maintenance. That's something new, something I haven't done in the past, but I kind of want to give a snapshot of just how busy the 4 mechanics and supervisor in our maintenance shop are and how busy they stay. Overall, over 2,000 completed work orders in one fiscal year. It's and some of that time we were understaffed, as they said. Jacob Sullivan moved over to Stormwater Administration. He was one of them. He come out of the shop and went to work for them. So for a few months we were actually understaffed there. But moving on to the Environmental Service Annual Report, I think this is the one that the majority of you on the council are most concerned with. You can see, obviously, we had an increase in everything, from the amount of trash we picked up, the big increase on brush. Of course, we had the tornado back in December, and then some other windstorms and the flood in May that increased that over a 57% increase in brush alone. Recycling obviously went up. Overall, almost 10% of increase in recycling from the previous year, so. Of course, there were some challenges, the Sumner County Resource Authority fire, but I would like to give a shout out to them. They've, since they've opened back up, even just part-time, they've really helped us out and getting our trash trucks in and out of there in a timely manner, and it's really helped us out, so. Moving on to the streets and stormwater maintenance annual report, and there at the top of the page, you can see the completed work orders, and as of July 1st, how many were outstanding that were started in the previous year. Over 3,000 potholes repaired. We had our street sweeper that we got a couple of years ago. When we first got it, it was kind of a maintenance nightmare, and it stayed in the shop or at the manufacturer more time than it did here in the city of Gallatin. But as you can tell, we track every mile of street that we street throughout the year. And last year it was 245 miles, and the stat that I was impressed with was almost 80,000 pounds of debris that was picked up out of the streets. And going to Lance's presentation, that's just material that doesn't end up in our street. There's creeks and streams and Old Hickory. So the adopted street programs, it's going well. We're still looking for more people and more community members. If they want to adopt a street, to contact us. We've got 8 streets adopted now, and overall it seems going, it's being successful. And down at the bottom of that one, it talks about the stormwater utility funds that Lance kind of spoke about for a minute. That's what the public works side of the stormwater maintenance, that's what we spent last year, almost a little over $426,000 just in the maintenance side of it. So I'm happy to answer any questions. One thing I do want to let you know about as well, their facility maintenance, this past year, we've got a new, not a new employee, but an employee that's got some new roles. And in that role, she is starting to do work orders in our Munis system to keep track of that. We're still dialing that in to get accurate counts, but that's something else I want to present to y'all, because that team also within Public Works, they do a fantastic job. And when I ran the report, I was like, there's no way they did a lot more work than what was shown on paper. So I didn't want to present something to you that wasn't factual. So we're still working on that, and I'll report back to you. But like I said, I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
You've done a great job with your department. Lots of innovation and raising the bar.
Thank you.
And all of your employees have helped in that. And it's very
I'm
noticeable.
blessed to work with a great group of men and women, and they take a lot of pride in their job.
Councilman Shabazz.
Thank you, Mayor. Richard, on your report, you put abuse to a recycle center after hours. How can we fix that? Do you have any idea on how we can make it better?
Fence it off and gate it up, close it down. In the past, it hasn't been something that this body has wanted to do. They've wanted it open 24/7, and I understand that. I mean, it gives the citizens more opportunity to get by there and recycle. But that's the biggest struggle at our recycling. It's daily. Somebody comes in at night and dumps, and we have cameras. We take pictures. We actually upgraded our cameras a couple of months ago, but it's so hard. I work with the police department, Anita Kemp, and police officer Jessica Jackson, and they do all they can, but really proving illegal dumping or so, it's really tough. So really the only way to stop it is just to have certain hours and go from there.
I would say close at dark, opens at 6 a.m. or something, like whenever y'all start getting there, you know.
Can that be something we look into?
I've got several employees that would love that.
Well, I mean, to me, you know, I used to feel strongly that people need to be able to go there, when, you know, but safety concerns me.
We're in this region at least. Of course, there's not many recycling convenience centers. We're the only one in Sumner County besides the Resource Authority. But we're the only ones that's open 24/7.
Did you talk to Chief Bandy and see if y'all could coordinate some way where they could actually fence it off at dark? I mean, even if it's just a chain with a sign hanging from it that says closes at dark? Because that's going to change throughout the year. Like, I don't have any issue with it being open till 9 o'clock when it's daylight. But I don't know, we can talk about it, you can think about it. So,
Any other questions? Thank y'all.
sure. Eagles, capital investment.
Back in 2022, I believe, we passed a policy to start having a capital improvement plan each year. And the first couple of years that we presented it at the same time as the budgets, but it was kind of hard to really use the CIP when we were passing the budget at the same time. So this year I've decided I want to start presenting the CIP in the fall and send it to you, let you review it, talk with the department heads about their specific projects that they're asking for, and then give me a prioritized list of what you want funded in the following year's budget. If I bring it to you about this time of year, then I will have that ready in February when we start working on the 2026 budgets. I hope to have that to you tonight. Things did not go as planned, but I will still bring it to you. I'll leave it on your desk next Tuesday night, and I ask that you just take the information that I give you, review it, call me with any questions, call the departments with any questions, and then on December the 10th, I would like to have it back on the work session for more formal discussions, and then hopefully have it approved on December 17th. So come next budget season, I know what we're going to include in the budget and what we're potentially going to put off for a few more years.
We don't have a meeting December 17th.
We don't?
No.
Okay. Then it would be a January 4th. Is that the first?
We need a motion to put it on the agenda on the 10th.
January 4th, would that be the first, the next vote?
January 7th.
7th, okay. Then I would have it at the December 10th work session to go on the January 7th council meeting. Again, I apologize that I didn't have that here tonight, but I will have that on your desk next week. If y'all are okay with that plan. Thank you very much.
Okay. Mr. Kellogg.
This is just to make you aware in case you get calls. Last week, we sent out letters to some of our customers, not all of our customers, to comply with the EPA's regulation regarding lead service lines. We were required to notify customers that they had a galvanized service line on our side or their side, or a service line that was of unknown material that we couldn't identify at that time. We've sent out crews. We've done probably 90% of our system, but there were about 3,000, 4,000 letters that went out. There are no lead service lines in our system that we're aware of. So when they read the letter, it says lead, and they get upset, but there's no lead service lines in our systems that we've seen. We're notifying them that they have a galvanized, or we have a galvanized service line. The ones that are unidentified, we're still working through the system to identify, and we will contact the customers once we know what they are. But this is an annual, we'll update it and send mail outs to the customers. But we just wanted everybody to know that there are no lead service lines in our system. I've been here 34 years and I've not ever seen one.
Well, and we would typically send a more friendly letter with further explanation, but we have language dictated by this mandate that we notify customers.
Is
So that's why
EPA
it seems
specified
so.
language. Some cities that have lead service lines, it does apply to, but it really doesn't apply to us. But it is a notification, and if you've got galvanized, or if we have
I wish we could
galvanized.
put stickies on it with further.
Pardon?
I wish we could put Post-it notes on it with further explanation.
We've had customers that have called us today that,
I do think that
were
would
unknown
be,
that said, hey, I had my line replaced 2 years ago. It is PVC, or it is PEX, or it's copper.
That, I do think it would be good to get some social media out there explaining it too.
Agreed.
Yeah, that would be good. I saw people asking on Facebook.
And if they've got questions, they can call our office. We've got an email address set up for it, or they can go on our website.
Thank you. Any other department heads with any reports this evening? Okay. One more motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Councilman Carter. Second by Vice Mayor Love. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, say no. We're adjourned.